Hillary Clinton did not walk into room 216 of the Hart Senate office building like a witness. She walked in like a woman who had survived 17 congressional committees and expected the 18th to die of boredom before lunch. But Senator John Kennedy did not bring a lecture. He brought a ledger, and that ledger had numbers Hillary Clinton could not smile away. 33,000 deleted emails, a 400-page memoir, 24 excuses for losing in 2016, $4.4 billion pledged to Haiti, 6 homes allegedly built, 4 dead Americans in Benghazi, and 13 hours of unanswered desperation. This was not a normal hearing. This was not another Washington ritual where powerful people arrive with polished statements, rehearsed outrage, and a legal team sitting 2 inches behind their shoulder like a panic button in human form. This was a public cross-examination, dressed up as a records management hearing. The title sounded harmless enough. Accountability in Federal Records Management. That is the kind of title Washington uses when it wants a scandal to wear reading glasses and speak in lowercase. But the moment Hillary Clinton looked at Senator John Kennedy and called him a carnival barker in a seersucker suit, she made one mistake that every witness should fear. She underestimated the man asking the questions. Kennedy did not explode. He did not chase the insult. He did not perform anger for the cameras. He simply let the insult sit there, like bait floating on still water, and then he started pulling the line. Because the real question was never whether Hillary Clinton could trade insults with a senator from Louisiana. The real question was whether Hillary Clinton, after decades in power, could answer the one question she has spent a political lifetime avoiding. When does responsibility finally stop being someone else's fault? Kennedy opened with the book, not a classified memo, not a dramatic folder stamped in red, a book Hillary Clinton herself had written. What happened? 400 pages of post-election grief, calculation, blame, and self-defense. Kennedy said he counted 24 reasons Hillary Clinton gave for losing the 2016 election. James Comey, Russia, the media, misogyny, Bernie Sanders, WikiLeaks, rural voters, data. Everybody got a turn in the blame parade. Everybody except Hillary Clinton. And that was the frame Kennedy built before the first real exhibit even landed on the table. Kennedy was not just reading a memoir. He was entering Hillary Clinton's own words into evidence. That is what made the moment so sharp. A politician can dismiss an opponent. A witness can dodge a hostile question. But it is much harder to run away from a book with your name on the cover. Kennedy did not need to accuse Hillary Clinton of blaming everyone else. He let Hillary Clinton's own published record do the accusing. He turned the pages like a prosecutor moving through exhibits. Page after page, excuse after excuse, the same pattern appeared. The system failed her. The press failed her. The voters failed her. The data failed her. The party failed her. The country failed to understand her. But nowhere in that long paper trail was the simple sentence ordinary people are expected to say when they lose, when they misjudge, when their plan collapses in public. I was wrong. That absence mattered more than any single insult in the room, because power does not become dangerous only when it lies. Power becomes dangerous when it builds a permanent escape route from responsibility. Then Kennedy moved from the book to the emails, and the air changed. The jokes got thinner. The room got quieter. Because now this was no longer about wounded pride after an election. This was about government records, classified information, and the absurd image of a Secretary of State running official communications through a private server in Chappaqua, like national security was a family printer that needed better Wi-Fi. Kennedy said the number plainly, 33,000 deleted emails, not 300. Not 3,000, 33,000. That number is so large it stops sounding like housekeeping and starts sounding like architecture. You do not delete 33,000 emails by accident, the way someone misplaces a receipt in a kitchen drawer. You delete 33,000 emails because somebody made a decision, somebody approved a process, and somebody believed the public did not deserve to see what was underneath. And when the old question came back, the question that has followed Hillary Clinton like a shadow with a subpoena, Kennedy did not dress it up. He brought back the line, "What, like with a cloth?" That sentence was supposed to be a joke. That sentence was supposed to make the questioner look silly. But years later, inside that hearing room, the joke came back colder. Because Kennedy did not laugh when he said it. He held it up like evidence. He made the room hear what the line really sounded like when the laughter was stripped away. A powerful person treating public accountability like a punchline. And then Kennedy did what every serious cross-examiner does when a witness survives the first document. He widened the frame. He moved from deleted emails to the machinery around them, from one scandal to the operating system behind the scandals. Because the pattern was not just one private server. The pattern was insulation. Law firms, consultants, campaign vendors, cutouts, layers of paper between the person with power and the damage left behind. Kennedy walked through the Steele dossier like he was tracing muddy footprints across a clean floor. The Clinton campaign paid Perkins Coie. Perkins Coie paid Fusion GPS. Fusion GPS paid Christopher Steele. Christopher Steele used Russian sources. Then parts of that material traveled into the bloodstream of the FBI and helped fuel surveillance of an American citizen through the FISA process. That is not a conspiracy theory in Kennedy's courtroom. That is a chain of custody. And chains matter because every link tells you where the weight was carried. Kennedy did not need to shout. He just counted. 1 payment. 2 intermediaries. 3 degrees of distance. 4 levels of deniability. 5 places where Hillary Clinton could say she did not personally touch the wire. But money has a way of walking home even when everyone in the room pretends it got lost. Then came the number that should have embarrassed every institution involved. 17 errors in the FISA applications. 17. Not one typo. Not one missed footnote. 17 errors inside a process that is supposed to be so careful because it allows the government to watch an American citizen in secret. That is where the issue stops being partisan and becomes constitutional. Because if the government can stack bad information, wrap it in procedure, and call it lawful surveillance, then the problem is not just Hillary Clinton. The problem is whether the system protects citizens from power or protects power from citizens. And Kennedy's point was brutal because it was simple. The same people who spent years warning America about disinformation helped fund a document built on unstable sources, then watched the government treat it like a key to a locked door. Then Kennedy turned toward Haiti, and the moral temperature of the room dropped. Suddenly, this was not about campaign tactics. This was about poor people standing in ruins while powerful people held conferences, posed for photographs, and spoke the language of compassion with one hand, while the other hand sorted access, donors, contracts, and proximity. $4.4 billion. 6 homes. That number did not need decoration. It accused everyone by itself. Because once Kennedy reached Haiti, the hearing stopped sounding like politics and started sounding like a crime scene with better lighting. A country shattered by an earthquake was promised rescue. Families slept under tarps. Children walked past rubble that still looked fresh years later. Mothers boiled whatever food they could find, while international officials used words like recovery, partnership, development, and reconstruction, as if language itself could build a roof. And somewhere inside that beautiful vocabulary sat a brutal comparison Kennedy would not let go. $4.4 billion. 6 homes. Then Kennedy took the room to Benghazi, and the jokes died completely. No more Boudreaux for a moment. No more fishing story. No more soft Louisiana rhythm hiding a blade under the table. Just names. Chris Stevens, Sean Smith, Tyrone Woods, Glenn Doherty. 4 Americans dead. 13 hours. Hundreds of security concerns and requests hanging in the record like warning lights nobody wanted to admit they saw. Kennedy did not need to perform sadness, because the facts were already heavy enough. The moral scene was right there. A man on a rooftop believing help was coming. A family waiting for a phone call. A government preparing explanations after the smoke had already cleared. And that is where Hillary Clinton's old line came back with the force of a verdict. What difference, at this point, does it make? The answer is simple. It makes a difference to the dead. It makes a difference to the families. It makes a difference to every American who is told that rules matter, records matter, chain of command matters, classified information matters, and public service means something higher than surviving the next news cycle. This was never just about Hillary Clinton losing an election. It was about whether powerful people are ever required to say what ordinary people have to say every day when they fail. My fault. My judgment. My responsibility. Kennedy's final image worked because it was almost embarrassingly simple. Boudreaux lost because his bait was bad. So Boudreaux changed the bait. Hillary Clinton lost, deflected, blamed, pivoted, and kept fishing in the same dead pond. And that is the real indictment. Not that she made one mistake. That she built an entire career out of never admitting which mistake belonged to her. So here is the question. If a regular federal employee, a young soldier, a contractor, a cafeteria worker, or a broke Haitian parent would be forced to live with the consequences of failure, why does Washington keep offering escape routes to the people with the most power? If this breakdown tells you anything, hit like. Drop your take in the comments. Share this with someone who still thinks accountability is optional in Washington. And subscribe, because the next time a powerful person tries to bury the truth under polished language, we are going straight back to the receipts.